Good afternoon, Tamily. We are getting ready to start our Ask Tamily interview today with Gila. And I have to actually double check what number this interview is so I don't say the wrong thing. We are at 169 episodes of Ask Tamily. So we're super excited to speak with Gila, and her Instagram name is Dr. Gila. So certainly follow her if you aren't already. It's Dr. Gila _Tam, and we'll get connected with her in just a second. And of course, we have questions planned, but you can type questions in the chat anytime, and we'll make sure to scroll through and answer those as well. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being interview 169. I can't even believe it's that many.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be with great company.
We are super excited to get to talk to you. So we'll jump right in with our favorite question, and then we'll hopefully get to talk to you a little bit about New York and the studio and things like that too. But first, we'd like to know how you got started with the Tracy Anderson method.
So let's see, 2 years ago, maybe, I was frustrated with, my workout regimen, not seeing the results that, you're looking for doing what, you normally do. And so I reached out to a fellow, Instagram Tammer, Erica, and, didn't realize she lived across, down the street from me. And so she was doing the same things, CrossFit, cross training, biking, this and that. And I kept seeing her post Tam videos, and I was like, what is this? Tell me more about it. So she, she's like, just try it out. You never know if you're going to like it or not, but you got to, try anything. So I did. I actually ordered the Metamorphosis DVDs online, and because I don't think the online platform was going yet. So I decided to do the DVDs at home. And let me tell you, I wasn't sold on it. I did not make it through that at all. I tried, I really did, but it just wasn't for me. It didn't click at the time. So then fast forward, 6-8 months later, I decided, I'm still now, I had trainers, you name it, and it just wasn't going anywhere. And so I reached out to her again. She's like, now it's online. Just try the online program and see how you like it. And with a good friend of mine who lives here in Miami, we both decided to kind of support each other through the beginning growing phases of the program. So we did start for a couple of days, and we're like, okay, no, this is no, let's move on to intermediate and see how we do there. And that's where we found the sweet spot. We're like, oh, now I feel it. Now I see what everyone's talking about, and what's going on in the videos. So we decided to continue. And here we are 1.5 years later into this. Then the pandemic hit. So honestly, I think timing everything worked out just right. So then that's kind of how I got started with the method.
Excellent. So what is your routine at this point? Do you usually do intermediate or advanced? How do you go about your workout?
So when I started streaming, I was on intermediate for a good 3 months, I think. And then I delved into the advanced program. It was a little intimidating at first. Some of the sequences, there's a few twists and turns to them. So I was, a little, okay, well, let's see how it goes. And I really want to get a workout. I don't want to worry about the move too much. So I would go back and forth between the two, depending on the week's content. And then, then I just kind of went for advanced and just kind of stayed there. And I've been there since. I have to tell you, in a week, I can do 5 days of advanced, and then I'll go off to like intermediate for a day or two sometimes, just to catch a break, and feel it out. And sometimes I love IMC. I have to say, like, it's an amazing class. And I'm like, I really feel this week better with IMC. And so I'll stick with that. But majority of the time right now, it's advanced.
And what about dance cardio? Do you work that in as well?
I try. It's time sensitive for me, so I try and squeeze it in as much as I can. I do definitely feel a difference when I do the dance cardio,
Mm-hmm.
in combination with the mat work, versus when I don't. But now that there's so many elective contents, if anything, I try and do the endurance boost right before and then jump into it. It's great. Like, it's kind of like, there's so much out there. You just want to play with it all day long.
Yeah, the choices now, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I mean,
Hmm.
especially with the elective content, it's
Yeah.
like if I just had more time.
Yes.
Seriously.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to spend the morning just doing one thing after another, but all of a sudden I look up and it's 1 o'clock and I haven't done anything else.
Um, so are you using heat and humidity at home with the workout as well?
It's kind of hard. I'm in my garage, and
Mhm.
so it's a large area to heat up. We have the Miami heat and humidity kind of built in, which is great. It's really good for the summer months. And so I definitely feel the difference. Come the winter months of Miami, I do have a little space heater next to me, so it'll keep me warm, and then I maybe keep a sweater on. I actually saw Cassie's the bodysuit, the plastic suit she wears over the sweatsuit. So I may be investing in that for this winter. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
So when you were just in New York, tell us a little bit about that experience. And was that the first time that you had been to a studio, or had you been before?
No, actually. So right before the pandemic, but this is before Tamily, before any of this, I had already started the program on my own. I went to New York, and I was told, just hop into the studio and they'll let you take classes. And I did. I went to 59th Street Studio, not knowing anybody. And I ended up taking classes with Courtney and Lashana, again, unbeknownst to me, that everybody wants to be in their classes. I just walked in. But they were super sweet, very welcoming and everything. That was in November of 19. Fast forward January 2020, we went up for a couple of weekends just for fun, and I happened to just pop into the studio. So I was very well versed in the studio life. I was excited, And then so I was looking forward to a Vitality Week that upcoming summer, and then we all know what happened. So I ended up being home, and then just continued. Then back in the studio I went again this summer. When I went to pick up my daughter from camp in Maine, I went through New York City and then ended up in the Hamptons. And that's where I met Tamily in real life for the first time, was in New York. Um, Karen and Paola, they're both Tribeca members. They literally came up to 59th Street Studio at a 6 a.m. class.
Aww.
And just like running, screaming, hugging, like the 59th Street people did not know what was happening. They're like, who is here? Why are these people screaming so early in the morning? But it was the best welcome you could ever hope for, And from there on, it just kind of made my way through. I met up with more Tamily in Nantucket, where I always vacation, and I'm looking and I see that Micheline is there pulling up in her boat, and I'm like, are you in Nantucket? She's like, are you in Nantucket? We met up, we worked out together. I mean, it just turned into like a whole Vitality Week of my own, And then I ended up in the Hamptons because I'm convinced my husband, he was very cooperative with me, and he understood what Tam and Tamily meant to me at the time. So he's like, okay, let's go there, and so you can check out that studio. And I met up with more Tamily in the Hamptons. Ezra met me out there. Suri met me out there. Met a lot of lovely people in the Hamptons. And that was the end of my summer. Like, it was a little mini tour of my own making.
That's fantastic.
It was great. It was really nice.
Honestly, as wonderful as Vitality Weeks are, and they definitely are, it is almost just as much fun just to meet up with family.
Yeah.
Especially if you can go to a studio, but even meeting up in a city that doesn't have a studio, like
Right.
That's what takes this to the next level.
Absolutely. That's what, and unless I think you're a part of Tamily, you're not gonna understand this connection that we all have together, which it's virtual. It's really, you're meeting people virtually, and you have a connection with them through a workout method, but then it goes way beyond that. And that's what's so special about this. You're not going to find it anywhere else. So we're very fortunate.
Well, I have to share a comment that is in the chat, which kind of leads to something we were going to ask you about anyway. But Maybella said that you were her sanity savior during pregnancy.
Oh.
And I know that, you know, you have a connection with Tamily that is definitely beyond the workout. So can you tell everyone that's watching today a little bit about your job and, you know, how you balance that with your family and also with prioritizing your own wellness?
Oh, Maybella, I love her. She's the sweetest. She was one of the first Tamily I met on Zoom. Yeah, it was. She was my. So I had two Zooms. I have to put that in, and then I can go back to our story. I had the PM Zoom, which was with Mariam Tamalasia. She was the one I reached out to, and then she got me into Zoom. So it was Mariam, Heather, Maybella, Kristen Coffee from the islands, Denise, Kathy, and I think Laura. Those were my evening people. So then I joined that, and I was like, okay. And then I talked to Mariam. I'm like, listen, I kind of work out better in the morning. She goes, well, there's this new doctor, Dr. Lauren. She's starting it. Why don't you join her? So I jump into the morning session, and it's Lauren running that session with Sigrid and Maria and Denise and everybody else there, and Hannah. And I was like overwhelmed. There was a point that I was doing AM and PM Zooms just because I didn't want to miss talking to these ladies every day, where I was like, they're like, why are you working out so much? I'm like, well, no, it's just my AM Zoom. No, now I'm just going to do my PM Zoom. I was literally working out twice a day. It was insane. But that's where I made the connections with these women, you know? And so it was just over the top. So when May told, I deliver babies on a daily basis. That's what I've been doing for 25 years. So, when people start asking me questions on the side, and I was more than happy to just, I'm like, I'm here. Whatever questions you have, whenever, just text me. That's what I do. I'm on call. If I'm on call, I'm up. My phone is on. It's never off. So just text me anything you need. And so that's where I kind of made a connection, I think, to a lot of the Tamily members, is because they appreciated that. It's scary going through pregnancy, through this, through that, whatever, surgery coming up. And so people reach out. I don't mind answering any questions. If I can help somebody, why not?
Yeah.
For me, this has been a lifesaver because I need my workout. I'm like one of those people who needs it to calm me down so I can focus on what I need to do throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And so getting this in first thing in the morning is key. It sets the tone for the day.
Yeah.
So having my 5 a.m. group is amazing. I love them.
Well, and it's definitely inspirational if you, as an on-call doctor, can get that 5 a.m. workout in.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, know it can be done.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Very, very, very inspirational, especially seeing that you're able, to balance that and to balance other pieces of, a very, very busy life, but keeping that wellness is totally a priority.
It honestly, Suzette, like it helps you focus better, I think. Like I'm like, okay, it's done. I can move on with the day, and kind of whatever wants to happen, I can take it, until whenever. I go to work, then I go to the hospital, then I come home, and then I have the 3 kids running around, and the dogs, the this, the that. It helps. It helps focus you and allow you to function and just take it easy. I think even my kids say it sometimes. They're like, can you just go work out, because you're not yourself. You need to do workout, Mom, and then you can come back. And I'm like, you know what? Even they can notice the difference. So it's a good thing.
Well, and that speaks directly to a question from Denise, actually. Mm-hmm. She says, where do you find the drive to do all that you do? And are you Wonder Woman?
She likes to say that to me. And I'm like, I'm not Wonder Woman. No, listen, I was raised a certain way. Kids today and the way I was raised, I have 3 kids. I know how they are, and they have the drive, but it's not like the drive I had growing up. I came from another country. I was an immigrant here, and so I was dumped in here, at the age of 14. Okay, go figure it out on your own. My dad was working, and my mother didn't speak English, so she was trying to figure out her environment.
Yeah.
And so I figured it out. I figured it out on my own back then. I knew I was on a path. You know, my father, I'm Persian. You know, I came from a country where, you know, women are, you know, oppressed. You're not supposed to have a career, do anything. So my dad knew that wasn't for me. So he made sure to get me out of there in time, so I could have a future. And so when I got here, I wasn't going to waste that on anything. So I you know, went to a little dinky town, Northern California. I stood out like a sore thumb, but it didn't matter. I made my way through, you know, went to undergrad over there. And then I went off to medical school, and everybody all along the path, you know, are you sure that's what you want to do? Are you sure that's what you want to do? And I said, listen, I can't see myself doing anything else. So that's how I'm going to approach this. You know, oh, medicine is such a long, you know, number of years in school and training and this and that. And I was like, I know, but I'm going to take it one day at a time, which is really my motto, one day at a time. People were like, oh my God, 12 years, this, that. I'm like, yeah, but you take it one step at a time, you'll make it there. And before you know it, you know, you're done and you have a career. And now I want to go back to school. I'm like, I just want to go back. That was a better life. That was easier. Now I just have too many things to juggle. But, you know, we're college shopping, and I'm looking at my son. I'm like, oh my God, you have the world at your feet. You know, you have no idea. It's open. It's an open field. Do whatever you want. And he's, you know, he doesn't grasp it the way we do. So I think that's where the drive comes from, Denise. You know this. And she has great drive herself. Don't let Denise fool you. She's amazing. I love her.
Well, we're getting so many comments in the chat about how cool you are and that you are Wonder Woman. So it doesn't look like a lot of questions so far.
I love it.
A lot of comments about you being selfless and thoughtful and just an amazing example of Tamily. So you are definitely an inspiration.
Well, you ladies are amazing. And you know, the support, the unconditional support that you get every day, it's unheard of, right? Absolutely. It's crazy. Like there's nothing negative, and nobody would even go that way, you know? And you just look through your feeds, right? And people in this one and that, and you're like, oh, you know what? Amazing people here together, brought together this way. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just, it's there.
And that's the thing that's so hard to explain to new people, because, you know, I think you can see that and think, oh gosh, I would like to be part of that group. And so you just jump in.
You just gotta jump in
and make a comment.
Right.
Like, it's not like, oh, well, these women must have known each other for a decade. Like, no, some of us have never met.
We've never met in person. Yeah. That's the funniest part. Okay, so if you'd ask my friends here locally, they'll tell you I am the biggest introvert there is. Like, you can't get me out to a party. This was before the pandemic. Like, they would have to drag me kicking and screaming to dinner parties and things. Like, I was like, no, I'd rather just stay home. No. Or if I was on call, I would be ecstatic because I wouldn't have to go interact with anybody. This has brought out a side of me that even my husband's like, what are you doing? Who are you meeting? Like, I have people coming over who want to try Tam in my Tam cave in the garage on a Saturday morning. And my husband walks in, he's like, who's that person? I'm like, oh, she's Tamily. It's okay. We met online. Her kids go to school. We know them. And he's like, okay, whatever you say. Like, I've gone like the complete opposite where, you know, anyone, anywhere, I'll meet up with you now. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's plan another meetup. I'll be there. I will, you know, meet with anybody. So it has definitely just brought out a side of me that wasn't there before, or, you know, was just very protected, I guess. Yeah. But you just feel like you have so much in common with everybody that you're just willing to just, like you said, that's honestly how I start. I'm like, all right, well, let me just like this person's thing. And let me just make a little comment. And they would like respond. And I was like, oh, okay, this is good. Okay, I got it. All right. So that's, you know, you just have to jump in, like you said.
Yeah. And I mean, especially with like, you know, we connect by the workout, but people ask advice like to you about, you know, being an obstetrician and everything. Like, we just end up connecting in these other ways that, you know, I think that is, like you said, it's the hardest thing for people outside of the community to understand until you're like actually part of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So what would be your advice to someone who is thinking about starting the method or just hasn't really got going yet? What would you tell them to do?
Just to start somewhere. It's the same thing that I was told, and to believe in the method and just start it. You're not going to buy into it right off the bat at all, because it's different. You're looking at somebody's back. They don't talk to you through the workout. You have to get used to it. And, you know, coming from a background where I lifted heavy weights and things like that, to drop to a 3-pound hand weight and ankle weights, it's different. So you have to give it time. I would recommend getting a buddy. Like, I had a buddy system that worked out. So you want anybody, you know, just reach out to a Tamily member and just kind of keep each other accountable. And I think they will help guide you through the beginning phases to the point where then you become attached and you're like, okay, now I got this. Now I can do this.
Yeah, 'cause I like what you said about like getting metamorphosis, but like it's not like, oh, day one I was just you know, dedicated from the start. Like sometimes you really do need that other type of connection, and then that's what, like, it's like you need the Tamily and the workout both to like really make it happen.
To get it going. Absolutely. Especially now that the platform's changing to more online, you definitely need to be into it and have already bought into it in order to be able to enjoy all the perks of the platform.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you know, if you don't use those live classes, you're missing out on so much. Yeah. It's crazy. They're amazing. The energy, the feel. I actually talk back to the camera like they can see me. You know, it's crazy. Like, I'm like talking and my son's like, whoa. I'm like, Tracy's there, or it's Lashana today. He's like, oh yeah, she likes you. You like her. I'm like, yeah, she's really nice. Like, it's just little things like that. But, and then, you know, yesterday I did it, and it felt like I was back in the studio from the week before, because there's Karen, there's Kat, you know, and I was like, oh my God, I was literally there last week. And it's that connection. You need to have it, I think.
Yeah. And those are the kind of things that give you that additional like energy and inspiration, adrenaline that, you know, keeps you going through out in your house every day.
Exactly. It helps.
So we are getting a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
Maggie would like to know what.
Oh, I love Maggie. She's amazing.
What are one or two of your favorite Persian meals?
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious that she's saying that, because my husband's literally ordering Persian food right now. So Maggie, if you ever come over, you know, my mom is here, so we'll have her make you some authentic Persian food. But the kebabs are amazing. I mean, it's, you know, it's delicious, grilled. It's wonderful. But my favorite is a souffle. It's like what do you call it? Like a soup that you put over rice. So it's a forma sabzi. It's with greens and spinach and little beans in there, and beef, like chunks of beef and everything. And you pour that over basmati rice with a little saffron on there. And it's my favorite. So whenever you come to Miami, we will definitely hook you up.
That sounds excellent. We have a question from Camellia. She would like to know, what is your favorite Tamily workout? So I think maybe talking about the different places that
So Camellia is my cousin. She's the one who was here a few weeks back, and she joined me doing the TAM session. She loved it. And by the way, I have to give her a shout out. This is my uncle, her father has his own wine. So he brought me some bottles of this delicious Chardonnay. Okay. So this is Camellia. I'm using it. I'm putting it to good use today. I think, and you know, we talked about this, and I think she's, you know, she's an ex-soccer player, you know, all the way through high school and college. So she's into fitness. And she loved it. So I think I'm going to meet up with her in New York at some point and take her to the studio and introduce her to it that way. But she know we like attain. We did IMC because I wasn't going to scare her off. But my favorite would be the attain, and then the endurance boosts, I think, are what I really like.
Excellent. Daisy would like to know, how can you join a Zoom workout, especially because it's hard to be consistent. So I kind of speak to that a little bit too. There's a million options.
Daisy, it honestly depends on where you live and what time zone you're in. We have them everywhere. So I usually will host a 5 a.m. Eastern Zoom. I know there are earlier ones. I know there are later ones right now. So just DM one of us and we will definitely get you hooked up.
For sure. There's absolutely a Zoom that will work for anyone.
For everybody, exactly.
It looks like that's all of our questions in the chat right now.
Okay.
So actually, we just got another one from SJB. She would like to know, how often are you doing dance cardio?
I'd like to say 5 times a week, but I'm not. I may get it in 2 to 3 times a week if I'm lucky. And those are usually the days like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I have more time to play with. So currently like 2 to 3 times a week.
Excellent. So in all of your studio visits that you have done so far, have you met Tracy?
I did. Finally. It was the funniest thing. It was like I was following her around all summer. I would be in New York and she would have just left. I go to the Hamptons and literally she shows up the day after I leave. I'm like, it's just not meant to be. It's not in the cards until it's in the cards. And so this meetup had been arranged, a while back. We just picked a date that worked best for everybody. And literally Thursday morning before, like first thing in the morning, I find out that she's popping into the studio and teaching that weekend. And so I had to do anything I could to get in there and meet her. And I did. I met her and she's lovely, amazing. Just whatever you see is, she's that and so much more. So it was amazing to be in just right there next to her, working out with her energy. I think everybody was feeding off of each other. So I don't know if you watched the Saturday, Sunday classes, but they were just, the energy was through the roof.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, taking pictures. I think Micheline wanted to take a selfie with her. So I'm like, do you mind? She goes, do I mind? Let me have the phone. I'm taking this selfie. And I mean, she grabbed my phone and was taking pictures with everybody. And I know you guys all saw it. I mean, we were having a blast. Like Courtney, blowing kisses to the camera. I mean, you can't ask for more than that,
Seriously.
Yeah.
That sounds like such an amazing time at that studio.
Yeah.
So we have a few more questions coming into the chat. So Rachel says she loves you. Every now and then she has doubts about the method and whether it's actually working for her, which is why Tracy's post-mat chat was so helpful for her. Does that kind of thing ever happen to you?
Listen, we all plateau. There is a point where you go and you're feeling it and you're seeing it. And all of a sudden you plateau for a little bit and then you start making changes and you see differences. And so I think that's nice to realize that and to be that much in tune with your body where you can tell that. And I think that comes with the method, because I can tell you, I wasn't that in tune before. And now I'm like, ooh, I know this is changing. And ooh, I know that's happening. And it's amazing because we have the trainers at our fingertips. All you have to do is DM them and say, this and this and this is happening. What do you think I should do? And they'll tell you, okay, you know what? If you're over bulking in that area, don't do the double weights. Do the light weights and just stay there. They'll give you tips just like that. They love it. And because they're watching all of our posts. They're watching you. They know what you're doing. And I remember one time, it was one of those hard attain weeks. And I doubt myself. I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be in attain this week, whatever. So I posted my video and then I tagged Courtney and I literally, she liked my picture or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, she's on. Let me reach out. Let me see what happens. And I DM'd her, just simple. I'm like, am I in the right lane? And she sends me back, Yes, you are. And that was it. That's all I needed to know. Okay, I'm doing what I need to do. So we all have those times where you're like, I'm not so sure. So just reach out and, you know, you can change it up a little bit and it'll make a difference.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That is such a different thing too about this method that, I mean, it feels like we're friends with trainers like Courtney, Donna, and I mean, you don't get that with other types of workouts that don't
No
have
way.
that kind of community.
Not at all. No, and again, we're virtual, Suzanne. Like, we're virtual, right?
Yeah.
We've made this kind of an impact and this kind of a community virtually. Like, yeah, there's something to be said.
So Deb has a question for you. She wants to know if you remember the first baby that you ever delivered.
Oh, wow. That's going a long time back, Deb. Wow. And that would be in residency. And so it's funny. It is funny. It's a funny story. We were all residents, and I know I'm still in touch with all my co-residents. And one of them is my work partner. Like, I've been with him since day one. So we literally started training together. We both learned everything together. So, and I'll never forget, we were on call, we're on the labor floor, you know, here we are, it's July 1st, they dump us on the floor and go. And we're like, what? What do you mean go? Okay, I guess we'll figure it out. And it took 3 of us to deliver a baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because none of us knew what the heck we were doing. So we're like, okay, yeah, I think you do that. Yeah, okay, now you go there. And we were teaching each other. We had an attending there who was guiding us. But so I do kind of remember that story just because it was so funny and so just out of, like, you know, right now, you don't do that anymore. You just walk in and do your job. But back then we're like, okay, what do you think we should do here? Okay, well, is the head coming? I mean, is that a head? Are you sure it's the head? It's not the, like, we were just,
yeah.
It was funny as anything, but the 3 of us delivered that baby safely, and I think that kid is now 30 years old.
Oh my God.
It was so long ago, but yes, that one sticks out. Yes.
Rachel has another question. She would like to know, she said, one day you feel amazing and the next day questioning how strong the results are. Do you feel like that as well?
Not one day to the next, but I do have my moments where I'm like, what, you know, I need to change it up a little bit and just maybe not do so much AMC, maybe go down to IMC for a week or something, or maybe should I add more cardio in and see the change? You know, depends, I think, on how I'm feeling in my body. Am I feeling fluffier than I should be, or what's going on, or too much drinking one weekend? Then I kind of have to balance that out. But overall, I have to say it's more forward with the method than backwards here. Okay, with everything else, I was killing myself, and it wasn't doing anything, and it was really frustrating. And I remember one time he turned around, he goes, "Well, you're not that young anymore," you know. And I was like, "What? What does that mean exactly?" He's like, "Well, you're not 20 years old like these girls in the gym, you know. I don't know what you're trying to go for." And I was like, "Well, I don't know what you think I'm going for. Obviously, we're not on the same page, so you're not the right person for me." Yeah.
Deb wants to know if you miss running.
I do. I have my little treadmill there. I mean, I was a runner all through high school and college, so I definitely miss it. I see the treadmill right there, and I'm like tempted to just jump on it. And what I should do is really like do a day or two of just running just for fun. I haven't committed to it yet, but yeah, I definitely miss it. I see people running on the way to work, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Because for me, it was an easy, just clear my mind. I would just, put on the shoes and just go for like 2-3 miles and then come home. Okay, I'm good to go. Yeah. And then I would jump into mat work. So then I was like, I don't know if that's going to work for me.
Right. But it definitely does have different, psychological benefits too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kim2M2 would like to know, what is your fashion inspiration on and off the mat?
Inspiration, I love it. So on the mat, it's easy with Erica being down the street. We text, and then she leaves it outside in her bike basket, and we pick up on the way up. That's how that goes. Okay.
Excellent.
So it's super easy. I don't even have to do anything. So that's easy to keep up with that side of it. And then Michelle helps quite a bit, Michelle Driscoll, with her, free people run of everything. And I'm like, ooh, we actually DM each other. I'm like, Michelle, I'm in the store. Check this out. Oh my God, it's so cute. And she's like, oh my God, I already saw that. Oh, I bought it. And so it's just, we all feed off of one another. During the pandemic, we weren't going anywhere. So yeah. I'd rather just, spend it on workout clothes. I think it was Kimmy C who posted that video of her closet running out of space. Yeah. And she just kept pulling stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, that's me. I keep reorganizing my drawers because it's more and more and more. And I don't want to retire any of them because I like them all. Right. And I mix and match them up. So it's really fun. Yes. So, that's where that comes in. And then other clothes, I'm a social media fanatic, so I'm on there like all the time. So if I see different things, I just kind of like snapshot them, and then I go and find them and then put them together. And then there's this lady that my husband, oh my goodness, her name is Jenna, right? She owns a little boutique here in South Miami, and she's on social media, and she just literally posts pictures, and then she'll drop off like a rack of clothes in my house. And she's like, just try it on, and whatever you don't want, we'll pick up in the morning. So when Jenna shows up, my husband's like, what is happening? Why? Why is this woman here? I'm like, no, I'm just trying on a pair of pants. It's nothing. He's like, there's 50 pieces. I'm like, it's all going back. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. So Jenna is, she's, I guess, the one who helps me with the other side of it, because she kind of knows what looks good on people. She's got an eye for it. And so I'll go in and she's like, you're going to wear this, this, and this, and this. I'm like, okay, I would never pick that. She goes, I know, but wear it. And I'm like, okay, that works. So yeah, I trust her now.
Well, even the dress you're wearing right now, people are making comments about that too. It is very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It's a very upbeat, colorful dress, and I just felt like being upbeat because this is fun for me today.
We have a question from Adita. She would like to know, what is your best advice or tips to get our lazy but sexy bum up for a 5 a.m. workout?
I think having the accountability group helps quite a bit. So people are waiting for you. You're going to get up. Number one. Number two, I literally get up at 3:45 for that 5 a.m. class. Yeah. Between 3:45 and 4:15. Why? I need to get ready. And Denise, I was telling Denise, she goes, what do you need to do? I'll help you. I'm like, oh no, it's just me getting myself mentally ready. I have coffee, I walk around, play with the dogs, and then I go and get set up. She's like, oh, so there's nothing I can do. I'm like, no, just show up 10 minutes early and we'll chat and then we'll jump into it. I think Adita, like you, my dear, are like the biggest, inspiration yourself. You run a pretty tight ship there. It's just, I think it's time frame and work schedules. So I think if you had a work schedule where you had to be somewhere at a certain point, you would make it happen. For me, if I don't get it done at 5, I can't, and then I'm not happy throughout the day. So I don't want to be like that.
Yeah, you're completely right. Let's see. There are an absolute ton of comments going on in here. Okay, let's see. My Breezy Summer says, I'm watching you and doing my workout. How do your children take you as a role model in life, specifically in the fitness aspect?
Well, I have 3 teenagers, so it's a little different. My daughter will, get into the workouts with me and do them, and she loves them. She likes them. She won't let me post her, and that's okay. I'm like, as long as you're working out with me, I don't need to post you. Yeah. Let's get it done. And she's really good at it. Like, she can just do the moves a lot better than I can. And I'm like, that's not fair. I've been working at this harder. She's like, I'm just better. I said, yeah, you are. My son Gavin loves it because he's the one in the garage who shares the space with me, and he just thinks it's amazing. When the lives are on, like he cracks up, like he's watching. He's like, "Oh my God!" And then when I met Tracy, he was like, "You actually met her? Oh my God, Mom!" And he was really excited about the whole situation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then my oldest one, he's a man of few words, you know. He's a senior, so you're not going to get much out of him. But I think they see like the dedication and the commitment, and he, you know, they kind of take away from that, and they're like, wow, you know, my mom can do this and I should be able to do this. And every now and then he'll come back, okay, how do I get abs? Can you show me? You know, like he'll ask, and I'm like, oh, so you are watching. Okay, I'll help you.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're you know, they're into it, just not very vocal.
Well, and I mean, honestly, just having that be part of your regular routine, it just sets them up to know that that's a priority. You know, regardless of what the workout is or anything, they will think differently of wellness because they have seen that,
right,
you know, throughout their lives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, they see it. They see it every day. And my space keeps expanding. And it's like, oh, mom's getting a gym now. Oh, mom's getting special floors. And I'm like, I use it. Yeah. So I get it. Yes. Yeah.
It's all about the priorities.
That's right. Right.
So Renee asked, what time do you go to bed if you get up at 3:45 to get ready for your workout?
Yeah, no, I don't need that much sleep. So I like to binge watch TV. So I'll get into bed around 10:30. I may fall asleep at 11:30, depending on the show. And so then I'll be up at 3:45. It's an internal clock. I don't really even have to set an alarm. I just wake up. So I don't need much sleep. I've never needed it, especially once training started. Like we were taught, you know, you don't have that kind of sleep pattern anymore.
Yeah, so definitely like a skill you build with your job.
Absolutely. Yep.
We have another question. This one is from Sigrid. She would like you to tell us about the orchids in your backyard.
Oh my goodness, yes. So in Miami, orchids grow wild. You know, I mean, they're all over the place, and they'll survive here. You need a lot of rain, but they do well. For my birthday, my husband decided to get an orchid person to come over, and he put orchids all over the trees in the front yard and in the back. And so I didn't realize it until I woke up and I get in my car and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of orchids. They're really blooming well. And then I realized, no, they're all brand new. Like he had just literally had the guy and come and put, I don't know how many orchids. And then the Tamily sent me arrangements of orchids as well. So like my house was covered with orchids back in May. And so slowly what happens is as the flowers fall, then I just transplant them onto the trees, the palm trees and everything outside. And then they just keep growing. And it's amazing. It was a sight to see back in May. Now they're going
through their pictures posted of that from May?
I don't know. I can put them up. They were amazing. Yeah, Sigrid was like, oh, wow, I need to come and see this in person. I said, well, whenever you come to Miami, you are more than welcome to come check them out. But my husband, yeah, he can be creative sometimes. So, you know, I never know what he's going to be up to. And then all of a sudden he does something like that. So, yeah, he did good.
So we have a fun question from Lauren. She said, studio, garage, poolside, patio, yacht deck. You've shared so many fun workout spaces. What has been your most favorite TAM destination?
Oh, wow. That's a hard one, Lauren. Yeah. And she got all of them. I love it. The one on the boat was fun just because it was my friends and I, and, you know, we're on their back deck, literally with two iPads doing the workout in the middle of the marina in Palm Beach. And like, people were just like, what's happening? And the husbands were just sitting there like, okay, this is your workout. All right. So I think the boat one would be my funnest so far. Yeah.
I wonder if it like makes you dizzy though, doing the workout on the boat.
No.
Does it?
No, it wasn't bad. And so the one I posted, we were docked, but there was on the way back, we were actually moving, but not going fast. And I was able to still do it. And it wasn't bad at all.
Oh.
It just looks weird being on the top deck doing arms as we're going. People are like, what is she doing? And I was like, I'm working out. Don't worry about it.
So fantastic. So back to one of our planned questions for a moment, and then I'm sure we'll get some more questions in the chat. what is something that you can do now that you could not do before the method?
Oh, wow. So many things, you know. My splits are getting better. Like, I haven't done splits since I don't know when. I don't even think I could do them as a kid, to be honest with you. So, now I'm like, oh, I'm getting better at this. I can see in my videos I'm going lower. I have to say the biggest challenge for me was a headstand. Biggest challenge. Like, I made a commitment. I'm gonna get this. Even our nanny, who's been with us for 15 years, she goes, "You're so strong. I don't understand why you can't do this." And I would keep practicing and falling over and just falling over. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm like, you try it. And she tries. She's like, oh yeah, it's really hard. And then my daughter comes in. She goes, let me show you how it's done. And literally in a second, she goes up. And I'm like, even my husband was able to do it. I was like, what? No, something's wrong. I need to be able to do this. And so I really worked hard on that one. And I finally got it. And now that I have it, like, no matter what, variations are on it, I can still manage to get it done. But I have to say, yeah, the headstand was a big one for me.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's one of those things that it's like, if you didn't do the method, I don't think as an adult you'd ever
try and do something like that. Yeah.
Definitely not. And then to achieve it, I mean, that's fantastic. We have another question in the chat from Karen. She said, how did you get the name Buttercup?
Oh, Buttercup. Okay, so in the morning Zoom, there's groups and then there's subgroups. And so Denise and I and Kristen, like, we talk like all the time, or we send video messages back and forth, just one of those things. And we are called the Power Puffs. And so we're the Puffettes. And so I'm Buttercup, Blossom, and I don't remember who. It's Blossom.
Yeah.
Buttercup and Kristen. Tell me what's the other one.
I call her Karen, but her name is Kristen.
Kristen. She's the one who named us the Puffettes. And then she had little cartoons, Bubbles. Yes, because Kristen is Bubbles. Yes, correct. That's why. Yeah. And so
funny.
Yeah. I didn't even know, and then I showed my daughter. She goes, "Oh yeah, the Power Puffs are really cute." I'm like, "Oh, we're Power Puffs then. We're super cute." She thought it was funny.
That's like another thing you would never do as an adult without this method.
No.
That's fantastic.
Bubbles. Yeah.
What is something that you would say to your 20-year-old self if you could go back and talk to her?
Don't take things so seriously, honestly, like, just enjoy life and just, enjoy the ride, take it easy, and invest in yourself, because that's what's going to get you through, the next 30, 40, 50 years. And if I had tam back then, I would have started tamming back at 20. Mm-hmm. For sure.
That is, like, I just think about that all the time. If we could have
done
started earlier, it'd be amazing. Yeah. But at least we have it now.
And we're going forward with it, and we're doing great. That's it.
So before we get too close to the end of your interview, actually, we've already been talking for 49 minutes.
Wow.
I wanted to ask if you want to play Two Truths and a Lie, and then we can have everyone in the chat guess what is the lie.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's see. I speak 3 languages. Okay. I'm an avid scrapbooker.
Okay.
And I've gone bungee jumping.
Okay. 3 languages, scrapbooker, and bungee jumping. I definitely think 3 languages and bungee jumping are possible. I am not sure how you could have time to scrapbook without doing life. But people in the chat are guessing that the bungee jumping is the lie. Maggie's guessing that the scrapbooking is a lie. I think that's my guess too. But most people are saying the bungee jumping. It looks like everybody definitely believes number 1 for sure.
Okay.
And then, just between 2 and 3 that we're thinking as the lie. I will have to go, oh gosh, I don't know. A lot of people are saying 3. I think I'm gonna guess number 2 is the lie.
Okay.
We are fully split with bungee jumping and scrapbooking. Well,
that's good.
Kate just guessed number 1. So I don't know. Maybe you speak 4 languages.
No, I speak 3. I speak 3 languages.
So we got that one.
I am a big scrapbooker. I have a whole room dedicated to it. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought there's no way she has time for scrapbooking.
I used to travel for scrapbooking weekends.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't done the bungee jumping yet. That's on my bucket list. I will get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm sure that we might get a few more questions in the chat, but I do also want to ask if there's anything that you want to share with the Tamily while you have this audience that we haven't covered yet, of course.
I think we covered a lot of bases in 51 minutes. I just think everybody should give this a try. Just jump in, We will welcome you with open arms. It's how we were all welcomed in, and we want to get back. And I think it's really going to help people to find this community and just see what it's all about. It's not a workout. It's not just about that. That's one part of it. There's so much more to it. And I just, you kind of want to share it with everybody. But then sometimes you start talking and you see them glazing over and you're like, okay, fine. My part is like, is it kind of like a cult? I'm like, in a good way, yes.
Right.
It's a good cult. It's not a bad cult. It's okay. I think that's what it is, and, the pandemic brought this upon and like kind of catapulted it into the future. Yeah. And you have to give Tracy credit for being on the forefront of this before anybody else. And she had the platform, and she didn't just stay there. She like took it to the next and the next level, and she's still going. Yeah. So with that kind of a leader, I mean, come on, what do you have to lose? Yeah, exactly. You're completely right. We do have a couple of more questions in the chat. So Mom of 3 would like to know, what 3 languages do you speak? I speak English, well, Farsi, my native language, and then English and then Spanish, being here in Miami. Excellent. Kim would like to know if you scrapbook on Pinterest at all. No, I wasn't I couldn't get the concept of Pinterest down. I tried, I get cool ideas and then I try and go do them or whatever. So I get ideas off of there and then I implement it. But I have like a whole room. I built out all the furniture myself. I have my Cricut machine and, you name it, it's all in there. And I have project upon projects there. So it's fun. It's honestly, it's another way to kind of like de-stress for me. Like just putting that stuff together, brings out a whole nother side. So it's fun for me. Yeah. And like a creative outlet and everything. That's absolutely amazing. It really is. And honestly, you're just one of those kind of inspirations that I'm like, if she can do all of this and, have friends and travel and be like well-rounded, like we all can. It's just sometimes, it feels overwhelming from the day. Right. I agree. And listen, I have my days where I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything today and I'm just going to sit here and binge watch TV all day long. And I recharge that way and then I'm back at it. Yeah. I'm not go all the time. I have to be, Monday through Friday and whatever, but there are weekends where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to work out, shower, change, and just be comfortable and really not do anything else. But now the holidays are coming, so that's not going to happen. I have a lot going on. I'm planning things, so it's fun. So we have a couple of travel questions for you, and then we'll probably end in just a couple minutes. But Sandra would like to know if you have a plan of coming to Europe. She would love to meet you. So I've been talking to Maria about this and Micheline. We're trying to make our way to Europe, hopefully in in 2022. Okay. And maybe either London or Madrid may meet up. So yes, I am planning it. We're working on that one. Yes, for sure. I will let you know. And when are you going back to New York again? Oh, I know. I want to go now, but no, I have to stay home for a little bit. Maybe early December, if with my hubby, like we go out for like a weekend.
Yeah.
If not, definitely in the new year for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Gosh, all I want to do is just go to different cities every weekend and see
Yeah.
Tamily.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, you're like catching up with friends. It's great.
It really, really is. Well, it has been so much fun talking to you and getting to know you just a little bit more. And you're definitely just such a perfect example of Tamily and so inspirational. So thank you so much for being interview 169.
Suzanne, thank you so much for all of you reaching out and, having me. This was great. Amazing. I loved it. And if we can help anybody, guys, you gotta have questions, just DM, send them my way. I'm here for everybody.
Definitely. That is awesome. Thank you so much. I hope to meet you one day in person too.
Absolutely. Hopefully soon. We'll do another meetup.
Yes, definitely. Thanks so much. Thanks, Tamily, for watching.
Bye.
Bye.